Hello again, welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video, and today guys we're going to be discussing the rather disappointing update to the latest balance data sheet by Games Workshop. Because basically guys, last week Games Workshop released a balance data sheet and it had a really good update for the Guard. We got a new army-wide special rule, Hammer of the Emperor. And basically if you get a 6 to hit in the shooting phase with any weapon, from a battle cannon down to a lasgun, any weapon, if you get a 6 to hit, it auto wounds. And the community, the whole competitive community and the Guard community, collectively we all sort of sat up and we were like, "Ooh, this is quite tasty." And there was loads of math hammering going on about what's the most effective unit. You know, with regular Guard, you've got that balance between taking high-powered stuff that can now start auto wounding with high damage, or you've got that debate about, do I just take as much weight to fire as possible and really stress test his rule and all that kind of stuff. And it keyed in really nicely with some of the free upgrades and stuff we were getting. It was really, really good. And it also reignited the debate about pure Scions versus regular Guard. And it was really, really interesting. But Games Workshop have come in now and said, no. Only regular Guard get this. And Militar Tempestus, under no circumstance, are going to get it. It literally says advisors and auxiliary units, including Militar Tempest units, never benefit from this rule. And I've checked with TOs and the competitive community, and it's just that's the case. It doesn't matter if you take them all in a separate detachment or anything like that. If you're Militar Tempestus, you don't get Hammer of the Emperor. And it's just sad. It's a bit disappointing, really. Because it really, like I said, it really ignited the debate, and it really brought the question back of Scions versus Guard. Because at the moment, really, if we're running competitive Guard, from my experience, from me just smashing it on the front lines, it's Cadians. That is your choice. You've got Cadians, and you can try like certain custom regiments and all that kind of stuff, but you're really limiting yourself on the kind of stratagems that you can use. Load, fire, reload is just such a fantastic stratagem. Only Cadians get it, you know. And there's loads of bits like that that really make Cadians worthwhile. And the fact that you can take 4 tank commanders, because you can take Pask and Creed, is one officer that can cover your whole army with buffs and all this kind of stuff. It's really, you know, Cadians have been the way to go, and this reignited that debate. Because now pure Scions, which before the Cadian supplement were arguably the way you wanted to go with your Guard, they were sort of coming back in. But now I think the debate is relatively stone dead, guys. I think Hammer of the Emperor is such a good buff that you really are debuffing yourself if you're not taking it. If you're not taking it and making use of it. So now it comes back round to, you know, the debates between regular Guard regiments. Do Cadians still have that top slot? Because Creed is great for the 12-inch order bubbles, but now everyone's got a Voxcat, so everyone's got an 18-inch order bubble. So the debate lies there, and that's a debate that I want to include outside of this video. I want to keep this video relatively focused for today. I suppose my disappointment with it comes in a number of avenues, sort of 2 or 3 avenues are main sources of why I feel disappointed about this update. Firstly, I know some people will say, well, in the fluff, the Guard, the regular Guard, with your infantry and your artillery, they are the Hammer of the Emperor, and the Scions are more of a scalpel. From a fluff perspective, that's totally right. However, we're not playing, you know, from a fluff perspective. This is for competitive play. The balanced data sheet is there to help influence competitive and matched play. That's why it's there to try and balance the game. Narrative play, you don't care about balance, and open play, you don't care about balance. The balanced data sheet is designed to address things that are issues from a competitive point of view. That's how I see it. That's why they adjust things like Harlequins, who are just smashing everyone. They adjust it in the balanced data sheet, right? And so we're talking, the balanced data sheet is there for crunch. It's not there for fluff. And so this was a buff that made the Imperial Guard, the Astra Militar, made that faction better. Just made them better, it buffed them up, and it gave them a much needed shot in the arm. A bit like we've seen with the Cadian supplement and the Psychic Awakening, it gave us a shot in the arm. And they've just got rid of that. And so it's really frustrating. You can't. I don't really agree with the fluff justification for this. Also, quite frankly, we don't have multiple supplements or multiple books for the Ashmere. Obviously, we've got like Psychic Awakening stuff like that. What I mean is, there isn't a separate Scions Codex. The Scions are in the Guard Codex. All their unit choices are in the Guard Codex. It's not like Black Templars or Imperial Fists or anything like that. Everything's in the Guard book. So this should be a rule that affects the Guard book. Not some units and not others. It should just affect the Guard book. I don't even necessarily agree. In fact, I don't agree at all with the fact that this doesn't affect advisors and auxilia. You know, this is not a regimental. I know it says every regiment and blah blah blah, but that's just to avoid soup, right? This is not a regimental buff. Like you're increasing a certain regiment over another one. This is if you haven't souped anything, you get this buff. Why aren't Ogryns getting this? It wouldn't really matter if they did. Why aren't the auxilia, like the Imperial Navy and stuff like that, why aren't they getting this? Why aren't Ratling Snipers getting this? It's silly. So I think it's I think they've done it to just try and keep it in sort of in line with the wording that's in the Guard book currently. But come on, like that's old wording. Why are we restricting ourselves to this old wording? Anyway, it's a different debate from the time. But what I'm saying is, it should have been an army-wide buff. I was kind of okay with it not improving auxiliary and stuff, but now the more I think about it, it should do. And I'm just disappointed that it doesn't affect Minotaur Tempest anymore, because I don't think from a fluff point of view I don't think it should justify it. Fluff shouldn't affect crunch when it comes to competitive play. The other thing that really annoys me about this is the fact that they didn't let it ride. So even with factions like Custodes and Harlequins, they let that ride for several weeks, a month or two before they addressed it. They were like, we know the initial data that's coming back is powerful, but we need to let it ride for at least a month, see some of those top tournament results, and then we'll adjust it. Why didn't we get that treatment? Why didn't we get that honour? No, like they with Guard, it was, we fixed that quickly. No, even if it wasn't the intention of Games Workshop, even if it turned out this was a happy accident and Scions got a nice buff from it, why didn't they let it run for a month to see if suddenly Scion armies were winning LVO and Bristol GT and all this kind of stuff, to see if it really had a big impact on the game state? Why didn't they let it ride and then adjust it if it needed it? They just instantly just knocked it out without letting the data come in. I thought this was a data-driven edition. Why do we have Meta Watch from Games Workshop? Why do we have playtesters and this kind of stuff? Why do we have that if they're not actually being driven by data and being driven by actual game results and playtesting? The best playtesting you can do, and Games Workshop has said this on their Warhammer community thing, is our community are the best playtesters. Because even if we playtest something, the best people that find these things out are the community. Why didn't they let that ride? Why didn't they let it play out? Why didn't they let the Guard community playtest it? And because the Guard community, well, we're getting, I'm turning a little bit on this, but by and large, we're pretty fair-minded. If it turned out that this actually catapulted us into the stratosphere and we got Harlequin level rates of winning, then we would have turned around as a community and gone, this needs adjusting. We've had our fun with it for like a month, but this needs adjusting. We're totally okay with you adjusting it within 2 weeks to a month. We didn't even get that. We didn't even get a whole week before it was adjusted. So it was a really, that's I suppose my main source of frustration from it. Like they're not. Why is it one rule for one faction, another rule for another? I suppose that's sort of the negatives from it. And I don't want this video to be seen as just a pure salt mine video, because it's not. There is one quite significant positive that I would actually take away from this adjustment, which is, it's hard to come up with positives when you're playing a faction that feels like it needs every buff it can get. At the end of the day, this was a rapid adjustment by Games Workshop, and they've made their intentions with this change clear. It wasn't for the Scions, it was for regular Guard, and that's a quick turnaround. They've seen something what they believe is not how they intended it to work, or they believe it's going to be too powerful, and they've corrected it straight away. And I can kind of respect that. And I can kind of actually go, you know what, that is good. You know, if it had been totally oppressive and everything, then at least the community hasn't had to sit through that oppressiveness. I mean, I don't think it was. But the point is that they have actually adjusted it quite quickly. And we can't be too harsh on Games Workshop. We can't be saying, oh, they never changed things. Oh, they let things, you know, the community, the game's broken, blah, 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 blah. And then when they do rapid adjustments, be like, oh, they changed it too quickly, blah, blah. You know, there is a fine balance. Saying that, I think it depends faction per faction. I think they probably should have let this one ride because Guard are so low down in sort of the competitive rankings that they should have seen how big an impact this was. But at least they've done a quick adjustment. They've made it very clear. So there is a bit of give and take, and I'm willing to swallow the pill of disappointment if they're going to be more responsive in the future. Like I'm willing to accept that. But the game is pretty gnarly at the moment. It's pretty rough out there. So anyway, guys, that's my hopefully somewhat balanced opinion. I'm willing to say it's 60-40 between being a grumpy bastard and 40% being balanced. I'm willing to accept that. But I guess it's just a little disappointing. But I guess we're all feeling a bit disappointed with this change. Why can't they just let us have it? God damn it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think it's fair? Do you think they should have left it? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Before you go, I want to say a massive thank you to all the Patreon supporters for this channel. It is thanks to the Patrons that this channel is even still around. I'm just going to say it. The Patreon supporters, they're the reason I keep doing this. So massive thank you to all the Patreon supporters. Massive thank you. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link down in the description below. Go and check it out. Huge thank you to all the regular watchers and subscribers and all that kind of stuff. The support that I get for the channel it's really nice. So just massive thank you to everyone who supports the channel in any way that you do. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.